Hope everything is working on the stream. It looks like the stream should be alright. If anybody wants to check on Twitch, that'll be helpful. Let's see.
I like your choice of music, Arthur. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
No
just
kidding.
from the YouTube library there. I try to find... I have two different options for intro songs. This one and one I played last week. And...
I would say I like this one a little bit more.
that one, yeah the other one is...
I like them both. I can't remember the other one now that much. Maybe you should try to find a couple other ones, especially if you're gonna have like different themes.
Right, this one's like
A
an
lot of
upbeat one.
It's like not copyrighted anymore.
Exactly. This one's like upbeat. The other one is more like strange and otherworldly. Here, I'll play it now. This is the other one. There you have it.
X-File music just starts playing.
It's kind of like X-Files, you know, a little bit
Well,
cryptid.
who has been murdered then?
We are live. All right, let's see. Let me change this to net view. All right, welcome to World of Monsters. You know who I am, and you know what this is. This is our Monstercast, our monster podcast. This is the official number 5 recorded, streamed, live chatted, involving you guys out there, Monsterites. You can always come join these over on Discord. You can join the chat live. You can chat on Twitch or wherever we're streaming, and we'll try to read your comments and into the podcast. And you can always join the voice chat. Today we're welcoming. We've got Dande or Dandy. I'll call him Dande. In the text chat here.
We struggle with his name too.
And then we got, what's your name? Go ahead, say your name. Dog.
Excuse me?
Yes, say your name.
Oh, Dog Dunzo.
Dog Dunzo. Then we got Gargamel.
Yes.
We got Super OCD. And then we got C. So welcome, guys.
Well.
Awesome to have you back. You brighten my... I'll call it morning. It's not morning, but it's my morning. It feels like morning. You brighten it up. You brighten up my
Okay.
life. How about that? So today's topic
Soul Eater again.
for the Monstercast, number 5, Voices of the Monsterhood. These are the voices, people. And aren't they beautiful? We've got some awesome voices here, if I do say that. So... not sure what that sound was, but our topic today is going to be what is it, monsters that follow a particular rule. You guys voted for that in our poll. We had a lot of votes.
I'm disappointed that Movie Monsters didn't win, but I'm gonna settle for this.
Yeah, we had some good ones. I forgot, I think Procrastitron or Creative Equinox requested that one, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was Procrastitron.
Right. His second name is Creative Equinox. That's who he is now, since he's come clean. Hopefully he'll listen to this. So, yeah, monsters that follow a particular rule, and I want to make the difference clear right now. What we're talking about. So we're not talking about monsters with limitations. So, for example, a werewolf that has to become a werewolf during a full moon, that's not necessarily a monster with a rule. It's more like a limitation or a trigger for that monster. So not monsters like that, but monsters that follow...
More akin to like vampires that can crush running water?
like vampires being affected by sunlight, then no, that's like more of a limitation. But vampires coming to your door and only entering your house if you invite them, that would be a rule. So that would be applicable
Yeah,
for
it's
our
also
discussion.
an extreme. It's also kind of an extreme weakness for a monster that has to like basically hunt people in order to survive, because it can't like break into the house late at night when you're sleeping and suck on blood unless you would dumb enough to invite it in because maybe you didn't realize it was a vampire.
Right,
A
right.
good strategy might be to run in the rainy days, to be outside and knock for help. Like, oh no, my phone died. Please let me borrow yours. I need to come inside.
Right, right. They wouldn't be that.
No, demon! I am not gonna,
Oh,
You-
that's okay, pale and mysterious stranger I just met.
This brings to mind.
Yeah, especially one that has red eyes, pointy ears, and gigantic fangs. That are dripping blood.
You
Right,
must
of course he'd be
realize that
disguised.
the vampire would-
It looks like a trustworthy individual.
I would invite them in. Come on in.
I would, but that's a
Now,
different story.
instead of inviting vampires in for good measure, what other monsters do we know? Because I'm kind of weak on this one. I voted on
Yeah,
movie
same.
It's a hard one to search out
Very
on
never
Google, and I know that's what everybody's doing before these things. So
I only know monsters with weaknesses, like damn it! I did research and I can't remember anything. But basically, it can't pass fresh water. It rises out of salt water, but it can't pass like normal water. It's acid. But that's all I know. I'm not strong in
What is
this
this?
area.
Well, the whole seductive mode of the vampire trying to get in your house, that kind of triggered something that may be a possible awesome topic for another Monstercast here sometime, is intelligent monsters. And not just like aliens with advanced technology like we kind of talked previously, but monsters that try to manipulate you psychologically and things like that. So
That's a good idea, but what do we consider intelligent? Let me ask that. Do we like speech and
well,
ability to use tools and solve problems, or
I was
just
talking with
intelligent enough
Indominus
Yeah.
Raptor, because
In-
that was downright human in intelligence.
right, that's
Yeah.
different. Yeah, so here I'm talking more like craftiness in just speech and mental
I mean,
manipulation.
I remember. What about this?
Oh, sorry. I was interrupting you. I didn't mean to.
No problem. Go
I'm
on.
just saying that's a type of intelligence. That's not just intelligence per se, because you can be like crafty in
Right.
like be very dumb in other ways. For
And-
example, like you could be like a crafty person who's like take advantage of people and be devious, but then you're horrible when it comes to mathematics.
Mhm.
For
or
example.
don't have any survival skills.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking about monstrous rules. Wasn't there some Egyptian mythology thing, Greek, that had that one asking questions, riddles? I cannot remember if it was the
There was a
Sphinx.
Sphinx. There was, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
because I
Sphinx.
was in doubt.
riddles,
because,
yes.
There's a lot of those things.
Stands on two legs.
It
Right.
lost one riddle when it lost in the riddle was solved. It ate itself, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
It's kind of
All
like a
fruit.
scene from Futurama where Nibble eats himself.
Num num num.
So all
We
the
on the Monstercast do not promote the idea of eating yourself. Please don't.
Or do, it's delicious.
Self-reward.
welcome, Chris.
Good evening.
Hello there.
Hello.
I think that doesn't Skaven Inferior follow their own rules? I mean, not rules like rules, but they are going to backstab one another given the chance.
What are we referring to? I kind of forgot what
Monsters
this
with
week's topic.
rules, or rather, monsters.
Monsters
that follow
that follow a particular rule. So
Vampire, for example.
and so, well, so I wanted to add that pretty much every monster that I have in mind that I wanted to mention today is kind of crafty in their ways. That's why they have these kind of rule sets, because without them, they might be maybe overpowered or too easily
or simply ignored.
To overpower you. So
I mean, a lot of the monsters in mythology, monsters, these mythological creatures, such as, I don't know what his English name is, but the guy that that helped people back in medieval times, and you had to guess his name to get rid of him.
mhm.
Oh, Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh yeah, the Danish name is something different.
There we go. There's a good one.
I don't know, he counts as a monster.
Oh yeah.
I would say that that's pretty monstrous.
For sure.
Yeah, he is. He kind of is a monster. For one thing, it's not even clear if he's a human being or not, or some kind of supernatural creature.
He's
So I think-
definitely supernatural to some degree.
Yeah, he's more of a gnome slash dwarf kind of thing, impish almost.
I mean,
what about the-
something more fey rather than dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps
Like
some
some-
type of spirit.
I'm pulling
Oh,
up
yeah.
some
I
images
know
here.
very little of him.
Here's
I
the
know very, very little about him.
possibly most well-known
You're not
movie.
alone then.
The horror movie Rumpelstiltskin. Here's that image. He's
There's a
got
thing
that.
with like, sometimes like it's like a myth that you can like throw rice and the vampires will count it, right? Some weird. Is that like a rule? Is it like a?
I mean, wasn't David Jones affected by the rule of not being able to, what's it called, go to land every 10 years?
Yes, but give him a bucket of water and he's fine.
Oh yeah, that was actually a thing. That
Yeah.
was so ridiculous. I mean, that literally just was like, couldn't they just have people carry him around?
Or they could just
Yeah, they
make him
had to do
glass
that.
shoes with water in it, and then he can just walk with glass shoes.
Oh,
Guys, we're getting so innovative. I mean,
Glass
then
shoes would
again,
have been a good thing
I
back
think they
in
just
the
had to
day.
give him a weakness, guys. He had to have some kind of weakness. Otherwise, they'd make him too powerful. Also, they
Exactly.
wanted to explain why, the end of that movie, why, what was the name, couldn't, had to be stuck on the water for, like, ever, basically. He can only visit his girlfriend, like, once every 10 years.
Yeah, but the problem with that is when you give us an option like, okay, here's a bucket, then you pretty much screw that rule over. He should have just stayed
I
in the
mean,
water.
would that mean that he could do it on a waterbed? Never mind.
Let's not go there.
Sorry.
Waifu stuff all over again.
Well,
So-
something that at least it's been around for a while, but that has come into the more mainstream view recently in terms of monsters with rules, the 10 Commandments from the 7 Deadly Sins series.
Ah, yes!
Or essentially, these are the top 10 henchmen of the Demon King, and he has bestowed each of them a commandment, which is like a special power. Personal favorite, I know it's a bit cheesy, but I have to say it is Estarosa's one, the commandment of love. If there's anyone facing him, if they feel even a shred of hate in their heart towards him, they lose all of their power to fight.
Sorry, who's the red demon with the spear, like the one that you can't lie to him and then he turns stone? What's his
Galan.
name again?
Galan.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
a stupid way he died, though.
Oh, that's the brilliance of yours truly. Look at my picture.
Yeah, Esknor.
Hmm.
Son for all.
That makes me also think
7
of
deadly
the.
sins. Lion sin of pride, Lord Escanor.
Yes.
I gotta be
character.
honest, I never knew the character that you were, what your profile picture was, Chris. You've
No,
had
you
it for
did.
as long as I've known you.
That also
you
makes
do.
me think of.
I would like to know why he's underling of Sir Twiggle, but he's so much stronger. He's like, yeah, like Saitama.
Zog you and your Nuxtaku memes.
Saitama, oh boy, the One Punch Man himself.
Hmm.
It's not a monster, but damn. There's definitely a rule about what he does.
OP.
I still need to check that out.
Oh.
So, no, that made me think about, like in the movie Merlin, the concept of once you stop believing in something, it ceases to exist, which is a very powerful theme in itself, but it can apply easily to a lot of demons and such, and spirit type entities.
Did you guys mention the Sprinks yet in terms of monsters with rules?
The Sphinx?
No.
Yes, we mentioned the swinks at least.
Skinks?
No. Skinks only obey the big fat toads. It's a different thing. Z.
Quack, 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 quack.
Yeah, we mentioned the Sphinx. One I'd like to mention and get it out of the way, since it was mentioned much last time, is the predators, the outjaws. They follow their particular rule is their honor system. They follow the honor system that they will attack and battle opponents that are equipped for battle, that look like warriors. They won't attack someone unarmed. Most of them, unless they're, let's say, a bad blood or something. So I guess honor can be
intrude on others' hunts.
What's that? Can you say that again, Donzo?
Oh, sorry. It's like one of them is on hunt, another won't go into the hunt. If they do, it's considered stealing the hunts or the trophies, and then it can cause banishment.
Right. So there's some rules too. Let me see. Another one I think we mentioned last week. I know Chris and I talked about it. Let me pull it up here because I mentioned it in a video for last Christmas. It's called the Marilud. Marilud.
Oh yes, I was about to touch upon that as well. The singing horse skull ghost thing.
Right, the undead
A singing
horse.
horse skull. That sounds horrifying. At least to some bronies. Enticing.
It looks rather ridiculous and a bit silly.
Well, it depends which version. The version I have up now, the picture is
also kind of terrifying.
Pretty cool, but yeah. So basically, it comes around Christmas season, that time of year, and it comes to your house and it sings a song, and your family has to sing the song back, wording back, to dissuade it from entering your house. So it's like a kind of playful wording process. So like I said, a lot of these monsters have to be kind of crafty because they want to get in your place or whatever. So
what about of monsters that fall particular rules? What about the Wishmaster that you mentioned before? Like he's really powerful, but he can only do something if you wish for it.
Right, that's another one.
Yeah, that's like a genie kind of a thing.
Correct. I guess Genie's a kind of, that's a monster with rules, too. Yeah, let me pull Wishmaster up. That's probably my top one to mention, because the Wishmaster is a demon, and I have images of him up right now. And he'll take human form, and he'll look like a regular guy, or even female, and he'll persuade you into saying what you want. And as soon as you say, I wish, or I really want this, he's going to grant that wish, but it's going to definitely harm you. So not in a pleasant...
You reminded me on this very cheesy movie trailer. Very strange.
By the way, this movie, the first Wishmaster, has some awesome practical effect monsters right at the beginning scene. I didn't expect that, actually. So pretty good work on the artist's end. So again, very powerful. And he'll do pretty much anything. His power is limitless. It's just limited to that rule.
Another monster that I just realized it's a bit more mainstream, you could say, because it's from League of Legends. Tom Kench, the River King or River Demon, essentially where he makes bargains. Like his entire thing is making bargains and deals, and at least in the trailer through which he was introduced, a man who was basically on the brink of his life when was met upon by Tom Kench, and he offered him a perfect life filled with luxury and basically everything good. All he wanted in exchange was that at some time for the man to invite Tom Kench into his home for dinner.
Nom nom nom.
The man agreed, and so Tom Kench, he swallowed him and went down the river and essentially spat him out at the front yard of a noble family's yard, where he met and fell in love with their daughter. As eventually they married, their family started blossoming. He was actually in a pretty good state. Then one day, the fishman comes to collect. He is invited into the man's home, and he eats everyone.
Nom nom nom. That was at the wedding. I mean, that's just tragic. I mean, his last
That
part
is
of
tragic.
Oh, I was gonna say beautiful
Ketch
ending.
is one of those monsters that I dare say is quite monstrous in all of the way. But he does make for a really excellent support every now and then. I mean, he's not the best. Hashtag trash master race.
I don't know if this is like a rule, but I know that Yuki Onna, if you look at her backstory, there's a story about how she saved this young man's life because he was pure of heart, and then she told him she will let him live as long as he doesn't tell anybody about her. And then the man grows up and he gets married and eventually tells his wife, and then she turns out to be Yuki Onna, and then says because of her children she will not kill him, but she broke a promise to her. I don't know if that counts as a rule. I'm not
I
sure.
mean, breaking promises sounds like a rule, if anything, because either that or she could just be really pissed. I mean,
She was.
Greetings,
I
I'm
guess.
Monster.
Oh, sorry.
I mean,
I guess it would depend on the narration of it, because I think there's a lot in Japanese lore with the monsters and demons that do have particular rules. Even the last one that I made with the Dodomeki, with her arms full of eyeballs, she has kind of a rule too that she'll what was it? She'll take the soul of thieves, but they have to try to approach her and kind of steal from her first. So that's kind of a rule too, because she's not going to do it to just anybody.
On the topic of rules regarding monsters, I just remembered a very interesting comic which I'll start linking the pictures here because it is absolutely
is it
adorable.
Homestruck?
No.
All right, had to ask you. You've been mentioning that quite a often.
What do you mean quite
You have such a
often?
fabulous accent.
Oh, isn't that the guy from Superman? Oh yes, I cannot pronounce his name for obvious reasons.
So what about him?
I mean, to banish that character, you have to make him say his name backwards, or write his name, which is forwards, then backwards, which was then.
So that's what Creative Equinox posted. He said, Mr. However you pronounce that. He's a reality warper from the 5th dimension. The only way that Superman can banish him is by making him say his own name backwards. That's pretty cool. See, and Superman would have a weakness again, not a rule, and that would be kryptonite, right? So again, another distinguished...
I mean, a rule is more so an, what's it called? A written rule, something that you can say in a sentence, and that sentence is binding, compared to the fact that kryptonite is literally one of the rarest metals on Earth. But
it's also it's a rule is more like a behavior thing,
right?
Like a behavior is like I will not do this or I will not do that. I will always do this under these circumstances.
In this case, like Santa Claus, he's not a monster, but he's a supernatural figure, like a Rumleskaft. Oh wait.
So regarding that comic, I've gotten all of the parts, and I'm about to share them.
Okay. All right, I'll be the one to read it out loud then.
All right.
Everyone around me was better off than I was. They had love, talent, fortune. I wanted all of it, so I appealed to the demon of envy for help. How long is this? As I pause again. It'd be funny if this is just like the first page. He's got like 20 more. I've already agreed to it. I follow the rule. Yeah. Very well, Tim, said the demon. I shall grant your wish. But remember this. If you ever again cover something that isn't yours... Wait, does that say... covet something that isn't yours. I will take back all of my gifts and haunt you until the day you die. Alright, so soon I had everything. A beautiful wife, a decent car, and an inexplicable athletic talent. It wasn't long before I was signed onto a pro hockey team.
Sorry.
My life couldn't be better. But then one day it happened. While eating pancakes at a celebratory team breakfast, I encountered something that ruined my life forever.
Pancakes are cheaper in the story.
The most exquisite waffle I had ever seen rested upon the plate next to me. With its fluffy golden honeycombed perfection, how could I have chosen a pancake over this? Oh, how I coveted it. It didn't take long for my life to go to hell after that. The next day, my car was vandalized with waffles. So you got little imps and demons vandalizing the car with waffles. The day after that, my wife was killed in a mysterious waffle-related accident. There was nothing we could do. Mr. Brent, I'm sorry. All I have left now is my talent and hell. If they're going to take that too. Even still, I sense envy's minions taunting me, trying to throw off my game. What a warrior.
Wow, that guy definitely made a mistake.
Wow, so this is like a big meme, huh?
His own.
You played yourself.
That's pretty funny. I think we should do that as the Monsterhood team, like go to some hockey games or just like sports events and all dress up in green and do that. Get notorious.
My friends and I, one time we talked about something. We said we were, because I had a Halloween suit, it was basically a Grim Reaper. And then we came up with the idea we should just all buy Grim Reaper suits, identical, because we're all the same height. And go stand in front of elder homes and stuff and point at random windows.
You awful people.
That's awful.
The plan was every time someone would get arrested, the next one would take his place and just keep standing there, pointing.
Funny. It would be fun to green screen this GIF out. See waffles flying.
This is one of the few things the internet is like. You see a random GIF of something, and someone makes an actual comic with a backstory for it.
Right. That's the internet.
I mean,
You put that image by itself, it doesn't work.
Right. Anyway, that's why I love these chats. That's why I love these chats too, because before our discussion today, I didn't have a lot of monsters in mind, but things just start coming up as we start chatting, you know? It's good research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should do one of these before every...
talk about the fact that pancakes are probably... What are your opinion? Pancakes or...
Pancakes or?
Pancakes? I'll take or.
What's it called? Waffles? I feel like this is irrelevant.
Yeah.
I would take waffle anytime as long as there's ice cream and syrup. Without ice cream and syrup, pancakes.
That's the rule. So if you want Dog Donzo to enter your house, you have to offer him waffles or pancakes. He'll come in and steal your soul.
That is Danzo's rule. He is our personal monster here.
Well,
I'll show up with my Grim Reaper suit.
So just start throwing pancakes
Just to
at
make it a
him
little bit
to
more
keep him
immersive.
away. And dress in green.
I didn't know the Grim Reaper would let you off the hook if you just gave him pancakes. Hey, I'm gonna buy a bunch of pancakes and I'm gonna be immortal now.
I mean, he doesn't have to buy pancakes. You have to make them so delicious that death cannot even deny them. Or rather, would not have to live with them.
I'm in serious trouble then because I've never made a pancake in my life.
It's not that hard.
You're
Come on.
screwed.
It's literally pancakes are probably one of the easiest things to ever make.
Excuse
to
me,
admit.
I had there were two girls here at my house from the orphanage that my mom helps. She doesn't work there, she just goes there to help the kids like pass on from their problems. Now these two kids were here basically from Tuesday till today, driving me crazy. And they were making pancakes, and they dropped the oil. It made such a big mess. I had to mop it up. It took me maybe an hour.
Oh,
That's rough, buddy.
Cool.
well, kids are their own kind of monster.
From
Amen to
zombie.
that. I'm so glad I have my own bed again.
From zombie horses
They
to
stole
pancakes.
your bed?
That's
The
what we
heresy.
are.
Yes.
So I want to take this moment, guys, since we're kind of squabbling in pancakes right now, to mention something I wanted to mention at the beginning, and I want to give a shout out to this other channel. It's called The Bottled Imp. If anybody watching this, go over there and put in hashtag, I don't know, put in hashtag Monstercast just to confuse them and to unite. But it's a cool channel. They're from England, I believe. And it's Kim, and I've connected with them a few times, and we'll try to collab sometime. But they do a fantasy show. They put a lot of effort. Their videos are, in some ways, more professional than mine. It's a couple guys working on them, and they just do fantasy-related stuff. It's cool, and they're back after their summer break, and that's why I'm giving them a shout-out. They deserve definitely more subscribers. So, hashtag Monstercast if you guys can go out there and do that. That'd be great.
You've mentioned the Bottled Imp before, so I think you really like them.
Yeah, I support channels that I see put a lot of effort into their work, because you see a lot of crap that has say,
I'll be right
million
back.
subscribers and they don't put much effort, and these guys have been working a lot. There's two of them. With me, it's just me, but I can understand a channel like this. They have an animation, and they only have 5,000 subscribers. It's hard to keep doing this for years when you don't see the growth you
Sorry,
see
Alfred,
others
what's
gain.
their name?
The Bottled Imp.
Hey, Arthur,
Bottled Imp.
5,000 subscribers? Far more than I've ever had.
Amen to that. Arthur, sorry, what's the YouTube name?
I'll type it out and I'll link it too.
Okay, Arthur, regarding their hard work and dedication, on the scale of 1 to that one YouTube channel that constantly uploads SpongeBob episodes, but to avoid the copyright, they live act them, how hard are they working?
Can you link it?
A sec.
Well, do you guys, no, I'm not gonna mention it.
Hey, I could. That's kind of hard. I imagine it'd be kind of hard work to live act the SpongeBob episode because
Yeah, I would think that too.
there's a lot of complicated stuff that happens in some of those shows.
And SpongeBob does apply as a monster, so this is still applicable to the Monstercast, maybe not this particular one. Just making that clear.
There's just like a theory with all the creatures are just mutated or mutated fish.
Creative Equinox has 11 subscribers and no videos. In a way, that was kind of a shout out for him, I guess.
Hey, almost all my videos are like nothing but like copies of other videos from other YouTube channels. Well, actually, no, that's not true. All of them
Right.
are copies of other YouTube channels that I've mirrored.
I saw
I
that.
don't make my own videos. I never have, and I'm probably not even going to upload anything again anytime soon.
So again, guys, coming
I'm
back
currently
here.
working. For you first.
This is the channel of the lads, and this is the first episode I watched of them, Graveyard Shift.
Okay, let me take a look at this real quick. And you guys think of more, anything more for Monsters with Rules, if you may.
Her name is Clarinet.
Wow, they do act it out completely. That's pretty cool.
That's
That's a
all
good
they-
idea.
I can't think of too many monsters in particular that follow rules in the way that
See how many
you
subscribers.
think they're using them here especially because whenever they follow these
27.
rules in a way it usually makes them less scary. For example, the vampires we mentioned earlier that
Mhm.
much earlier that can only go into your house if you invite it in. That vampire, it can't enter your house uninvited on late at night while you're sleeping. Then if you're like the only guy who lives there, it can't like break in, and then that makes it much less terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
On Vampire Diaries is that vampires would actually have humans in their house in order to keep other vampires out.
I mean, that makes sense. If you cannot enter a human's house, you wouldn't be able to enter.
Whoa.
That would make sleeping on the couch incredibly awkward.
A story.
Yeah.
Chris's story and little comic strip reminded me of a Japanese kind of monstrous story too, because it involves demons. And it's basically a family receiving a little pouch, and in that pouch is an endless amount of coins. And I remember reading this a long time ago, so I don't remember exactly, but I'll give you the general gist of it. So it's an endless pouch of coins. So they have money forever, but every year the father or something like that has to go into the forest or somewhere and pay homage to that to the old lady or something that gave him that. So basically say thank you, and that's it, and light a candle, whatever. I don't know the details. So he has to do that once a year, and they'll have endless money forever. But eventually they get so rich and distracted with life that he forgets to do it one year, and I forgot. I think he goes somewhere and opens something, and a bunch of demons come out, some crazy three-eyed demons, usual Japanese weird stuff with the round faces and the big...
Oh,
tusks.
great, the old lady in the woods thing. I mean, let's be honest, if you meet an old lady in the woods and live alone, you probably should not go for being like, yeah, this is fine. You should run
Turn
away.
the witch.
Well, make friends with her.
No.
Don't break your promise. It's just a weakness
That
of
too.
humanity, and so these creatures kind of feed on that. Can you really blame them, though? To some point you can, but to some point
yes.
you can't, because that's humanity. It's broken.
You broke the promise. Yeah.
Right.
It's your fault.
So if you're going to be
This
honorable,
reminds me of something.
then you've
Reminds
got
me
an
of
awesome
there's a
life.
movie. I don't know if it was made for TV or if it was in theaters, but there was a movie, a fairly old movie, where the devil, this would probably count as a rule, where the devil comes to this one guy and says that and says, if you can, that you will have unlimited money and unlimited, but you can't bathe for a full year, and if you fail, I will get your soul. And the guy, he actually he's is really happy at first and really good because he has all this money, but then because he has gone so long without bathing, he ends up becoming like really filthy and stuff. People start treating him horribly, and it doesn't end the way you think it does. You don't think it doesn't end by him showering and losing his soul. He ends up meeting this nice lady, this nice noble lady. He ends up helping him out because he has unlimited money. And then at the end, after a year, he can bathe again, and he tells like the devil, make me clean. And he goes back, and the noble lady's like stunned by how beautiful he is and how handsome he is, and her like sisters, because they didn't go for her for him when he was really like ugly and dirty.
Right.
They commit suicide, and the devil got 2 souls at the price of 1 because he didn't break his promise. And would that count as a rule that
Well, the devil is a common dealer of souls with rules and all.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
a
let's be
promise.
honest.
Mr. Luxie.
Just a bunch of people limiting.
A promise such as
That
an
looks
honor
shitty.
code.
Mr. Luxie kind of sucks, to be honest. I mean, you're going through enough already, and then he's like, oh, you can't let go of this person. You can't let go of your child you lost. Oh, screw you. I'm going to take part of your head. Screw Mr. Luxie.
Gargamel, so he has infinite money. He can't bathe for 4 years. Is that it?
He can't bathe for like.
If I had
for like a full
infinite
year.
money, I would send my parents somewhere away and like.
Shush, I'm asking a question to Gargamel. So what was the trick? So infinite money but can't bathe for a year.
He has infinite money, but he can't bathe for a year, and if he fails, the devil's going to get his soul.
Okay, that is a very easy to circumvent thing. If you have infinite money, do what the French did in the late Middle Ages. Invest in perfumery.
Right. Well, that's the thing, you see.
You'd still look pretty bad, though, if you couldn't bathe at all. Like a full year.
Yeah.
You would be surprised what you can do with infinite money and a lot
Right.
of time in your own bedroom.
for sure.
Like, because that's the reason why the French king, I don't know which one. How many of you are familiar with Madame de Pompadour? Like back in that specific time, the French didn't really bathe a lot because poor sewage and one. Instead, that's why they have the best perfumes right now. They use that to mask their musk. And because Lady de Pompadour was the only person in the court that actually bathed regularly, that's why the king loved her so much and liked to spend time with her.
That's
Well.
interesting. I had no idea.
Well, that's it, kids. Remember, instead of bathing, instead of using perfume, invest in good soap.
Yeah, good idea. You'll be much healthier too.
Also on the topic of the devil, I remember this one movie I saw where I think it was with Brandon Fraser. Was that the guy from the Mummy remake? The George of the Jungle guy.
Right.
There's this movie with him where he comes by the devil, and the devil says that he will grant him 5 wishes, after which he would claim his soul. And so he goes to the normal, I want to be rich and powerful, and every wish he makes, eventually it just screws him over in a way. I want to be rich and powerful, I want to be a very talented writer, and stuff like that, and in the end he's so done with it that he uses his final wish to say the main love interest of the movie, I want her to be happy. And because he used his final wish on something that was not selfish, the devil would essentially said, I'm not taking your soul. Because that was the hidden rule, apparently.
So,
it was not mentioned.
Yeah. So essentially,
I mean, that is the devil after all. He is chaotic lawful, or rather, evil.
Well, he's lawful,
but he's
why
lawful.
would he care if you made a wish that wasn't selfish? Because
I mean, the devil is a lot of things, but something that is not selfish. That's definitely not the devil, because if I remember, modern Satanism is basically all about yourself. I cannot express this in appropriate terms due to the simple fact that I do not know enough about modern Satanism for obvious reasons.
That story that you just told reminds me of the Simpsons episode that there was where Homer would sell his soul for a donut, and then Ned as the devil appears, and as long as he didn't finish the donut, his soul was still safe. But then, of course, Homer being Homer, he ate the donut.
He ate it all in one bite.
No, he ate it, but he left one piece, and then the night when he thought, oh, he's so smart because he asked Ned if he doesn't finish the donut, doesn't he get the soul? Ned said no, and he left the donut. He thought he was smarter, and then he went to sleep, and then, of course, Homer being Homer went down for a midnight snack.
Of course.
That's an old episode, I think.
Forgetting the classical bargain with the devil, Foss, the guy that made a deal with the first guy that made a deal with the devil.
Don't know the story. Please enlighten us.
I cannot remember the exact name, but there's this guy that just makes a deal with the devil about all of these amazing things happening for him, and in the end, he's basically screwed over because it's the devil. Big surprise.
Essentially, what a lot of these monsters that we talk about today, not all of them, but a lot of them, maybe even most of them that follow these rules, they come with a certain lesson. And that's why these stories are so
all of these are,
brilliant.
What's it called? Tales of...
So again, like we were talking, is that monster really evil for doing that, or is the devil really wrong for doing that? They're basically creating a test for you, and it's like marriage. You enter a marriage, that's a test too. Don't cheat on your spouse, right? So in this case, they're kind of tests of life, and if people enter these tests, they're agreeing to fulfill them. So it's just a lot of lessons. Like the Wishmaster, the lesson would be happy with what you have. Don't keep wishing for something new. And then with these other ones, it's like don't have greed. For other ones, it's a good movie, bit of sacrifice.
Sorry, Alfred.
Go ahead.
A good movie, for example, is The Devil's Advocate. I don't know if you've seen it, but basically this lawyer He knows he's letting criminals out on the streets, and that eventually he finds out that his own father's the devil, who manipulated him into basically joining him, and then he commits suicide, and then the whole thing resets to the beginning, and then you just see how the process starts repeating itself in a different way.
Yeah, that's a pretty good movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. That's a good example.
I think I remember that.
I saw The Devil's Advocate, and
Al
I
Pacino.
do take a little bit of issue with it because, you know, that's what a lawyer is supposed to do. He's supposed to defend, you know, people in court, and he's not supposed to. If he thinks he's guilty, he's supposed to defend them to the best of his ability. That is his job to do. It's not, you know, an evil thing like that movie made it out to be. And
Well, if you know it's wrong, like the first guy you see was practically masturbating inside of the courtroom after he raped the little girl. I mean, that's evil. That's plain simply evil. And
yeah,
then
it
the guy
is evil.
turned it
but-
around to say it's a girl's fault.
But if you're a lawyer, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to not defend your defendant. I mean, we have.
I mean, we are talking different layers of evil now, and while the evil of the law system is an entirely different thing, I will say that we're getting just
That's a
tiny
good
bit.
series for our channel. The Layers of Evil, Episode 1.
I mean, I'll take a triple
Yes.
sandwich if it's okay with
A
you.
monstrous romantic show.
The point I was just making is that we have such thing as, in the United States, at least, we have such thing as an all law, it's as an right to an attorney.
50
And
Shades
that
of Evil.
attorney, he can't just say, I'm not going to defend this guy because I have a bad feeling that he's not, you know, innocent. He's supposed to try to defend you to
You're
like
right.
the best of his ability.
You're right. It's right, but you've got a solid point, but it's still kind of wrong. I mean, you know that guy is wrong to the bottom of your soul, but you
Right.
still gotta defend him. It's pretty corrupt.
I mean,
option
that's
is
the
there?
thing. I mean, it takes better people than the people have done wrong to improve the world, after all. I mean, a system that is a system only to be a system and act on behalf of the system is in itself flawed in some way, shape, or form.
I agree with you, but I don't feel the same way about Justin. You have to, in the United States, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Proven
That's not the way it
guilty.
works in some other societies, but it's just the way it is here, and I'd like that system better than when we presume guilty until you're proven innocent.
It seems
I don't
that,
want to get too much into politics, though. We should probably get off this subject.
Yep.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like
It's a
that,
good topic for another time.
recently In the States, something has gone deciding that that the accused need to prove that he is not guilty instead of the opposite way, but not bring to that. Damn it! I thought of a monster with a rule, but forgot it. I just forgot it
That's
again.
what happens. You got to write it down. You got to have a notebook ready on these shows.
That's a very
Yeah,
good
that's
advice.
a good idea.
Yeah, I always jot things down here on some old piece of paper. One
I
thing.
know this is a little dodgy subject, but like murders that are committed here, it is the whole innocent until proven guilty. But those things go on for so long, like 4 years, to the point we actually forget about the whole incident.
Yeah,
then
there's
it's
a lot of
like,
things that
This
happen
guy
behind.
is. Yeah, it's pretty much gone now.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
it
thing
depends
is-
how big the criminal is, how famous he is, how well is known his name is. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of twisting that goes on behind the scenes, from what
Yeah.
the media gives us. So, and the media's only
Maybe we should get off
gives
this
us
though,
things
because
that
we're not really gonna.
pay
We
for.
don't really. We're not really here to talk about politics, and this is getting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's change the subject now.
So
Change the
Back to
subject
our
now.
appropriate topic. Have you guys mentioned the two creatures? I don't know which ones were exactly. One lies, the other tells the truth.
Oh god, that one. I mean
I had
that's
a
common
riddle.
trope, isn't it, by now?
I guess that would work.
Children's story, where there were all these rules regarding how different monsters would behave, and one group of monsters would always lie, and the others would always tell the truth no matter what. Can't remember the name of the story though, but I read it when I was like in I think, kindergarten. It's like how long ago it was.
I mean, I swear, I remember there was something that I thought of, but I just lost it.
I know of two wolves where it's basically hellhounds. If you look in their eyes, you're cursed. If you hear them howling, then it means you're gonna die at some point. And if it actually attacks you, it means you're gonna go to hell instead of just simply die and go to heaven.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
pretty much. You close to it, you die.
If there's anything I can do that will prevent those things from ever coming anywhere near me, my family, or my friends, please. I would not want to be one of you. So glad they're not real.
We never know. I saw something weird later this night.
Oh.
Do you tell?
No, the thing is that it's not really on topic, but what's it called? There was something I wanted to talk about due to the fact that there was an old adventure of some kind that had these creatures that followed these rules. I cannot remember them specifically by now, but they were, what's it called? Oh no, I forgot. I honestly to God forgot.
Okay, let us know when you remember. Another
All right.
thing I was thinking of was not necessarily a monster, although if you can consider a concept, maybe a monster like the concept of hell in, what was it, Greece? Or you guys will know what I'm talking about. So depending on what crime you do a certain
Tartarus?
thing in hell. So like you have to push a boulder up a hill for eternity due to one crime.
Dante's
So that's
The
kind of
Divine
rule.
The seven circles.
Mm-hmm.
9, I think.
Oh, 9. Sorry.
It's always 9.
I mean, 7 is the fairy tale number. I would not.
Yeah,
think
it's one for every sin, like wrath,
Mhm.
sloth, that kind of
So
stuff.
it's not necessarily a rule, but if you can, like I said, if you can call the concept of hell a monster, then in a way that kind of is.
I mean, we are talking supernatural deities at this point.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have brought. So I wouldn't say that hell on its own is a monster, but it is a monstrous concept, if anything.
Exactly.
I mean,
What's
then
that
Yeah,
again,
it
movie?
definitely is. I mean, a place of eternal suffering that, is so horrible that it would, be worse than a concentration camp. I mean, that's
Sure.
not...
I think that concentration camps
Plus,
are
it depends on your
along the line of what
depiction.
hell could
Yeah,
be.
yeah, I've known people, I don't know anyone, but I've heard some Holocaust, at least one Holocaust survivor saying he didn't believe in hell because he was in a concentration camp, but that was hell.
Right.
I will
What
believe
was that? What was that movie where there's a spaceship that's testing teleportation, and when it disappears, and when it comes back, the the ship's basically haunted. It's practically hell, and the inside is covered in the passengers' internals and stuff. Like they're fused to the wall and stuff.
Event Horizon, I think
Nice.
you're talking about.
I'm not sure.
Sounds gruesomely
Insert
pleasing.
any chaos ship.
Horizon.
Event Horizon.
I
Huh, let's
mean,
Google
then
that. Come
Insert
Google.
any chaos ship, basically.
It's
Yeah.
Event
No,
Horizon.
don't do that.
Pretty
That'll be
much.
40K again.
Zeke Nukes, it's probably unusual because it's a horror movie, but there's also there's a fan theory that Event Horizon is a prequel to Warhammer 40K. I can't remember where I heard that, but there are
I
some
mean,
fans
what makes
who
sense?
think
It has
there's
the same themes.
I can't
it's
believe
not-
I've
it has
never
nothing
seen
to-
this.
What is it?
Oh, it's got Sam Neill in it. And,
You haven't seen Event Horizon, Arthur?
no, I
Seen
haven't.
either, but I've heard of it.
Oh my goodness.
mean,
I hope
wasn't
nobody
also
outside of this
Chapters or something?
Monstercast hears that I
What's
haven't
it
seen it.
called? The evil Santa Claus or something.
It looks pretty awesome.
Krampus.
Krampus.
If you guys haven't seen, by the way, since I mentioned Sam Neill, the movie In the Mouth of Madness, awesome little horror movie. Got some monsters.
There's actually countries that separate, like Krampus, and where if you look at the origins of Santa Claus, and this is gonna go into deep for this because there could be children watching, but just Google
Hello,
Krampus
OCD.
positions.
Close your ears.
Close your eyes.
Super
Shut
OCD is not a child.
Oh no.
I'm not specifying
I'm 16.
OCD because
She needs to hear
you
this.
Just look at other
Child.
stuff. I'm talking about like 9 and below because
Alright.
they should not see the Krampus stuff I've seen.
Papa.
It's scary as hell.
That's why you not go onto hentai.
You said that, not me.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also, don't if you're a little kid, don't Google anything involving Rule 34, especially My Little Pony.
Definitely not.
Guys, let's
Why did you mention that?
All right.
No.
Getting off topic here.
Because we're distracted.
In this
Oh,
moment.
Blur this whole conversation from this point.
In this
And
moment
I'll
of monstrously going off
Oh my.
topic.
We are changing the gears of this topic right now and going back to our topic.
Thank you,
Because
Chris.
I just recalled not the monster I was thinking of initially, but another one. This is a Japanese urban myth, I believe, but it's also been featured in other stuff, I believe. The 8-foot-tall lady.
Is that what it's called?
In Japanese, it's a hachi something. But basically, in English, you should find it by the 8-foot-tall.
Okay,
woman.
I'll try to Google
Not lady,
something
but
for it.
woman. 8-foot-tall woman. Where there's a very
Scary.
I don't remember the.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a 8-foot-tall woman, not a lady.
I really do take risks
I
with
can't
Google.
remember which channel it was exactly, but it is oh, the woman who brings death. That picture that I see on the stream, that's from the video I watched about this lady. There's a channel who makes videos based on various monsters, legends, and myths, and they
Mhm.
featured this one where the woman telling the story.
Mhm.
She said how as a child, she was playing in her grandparents' garden, and they had a bush fence essentially. You know how those very thick bushes that look like fences?
Right, the hedge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thorn bushes?
Yeah, basically this, and above the hedge, she could see a yellow hat just moving by, not blown by the wind or something. It was actually walking, and in one of the cuts in the hedges, she saw this very tall, pale woman with red eyes, who looked at her. She felt uneasy and ran back into her house. She told her grandparents about this, who immediately got very terrified. So they locked her in the house. The grandmother say to counsel her, the person's telling the story, and her grandfather went and got a local priest who said that a long while ago, a very horrible evil had escaped from a temple, so he left bowls of white rice, in each corner of the girl's room, and had her sit in front with in the center of the room they placed an idol, and the priest told her to stay in the room and not go out and not open the door or let anything in at all until morning. And so they did. They locked the door, and she just stayed there. Initially, she prayed to the idol, and after the whole ritual was done, then she went to sleep. And sometime during the night, someone knocked on her door, and it was the sound of her grandfather's voice. And he was telling her asking her how she was. She told him, "I'm a little bit scared," and that's a funny image. And then suddenly the grandfather's voice told her, "Hey, want me to come in and spend the night with you so you're feeling safer?" But she then, as she was about to reach for the door, she remembered what the priest said, and she continued, "No, I shouldn't." Then the voice suddenly warped into very bizarre sounds, and there was some drumming on her door. She went and hid under her bed, and that went out for she doesn't know how long. In the morning, she had fallen asleep somehow, and in the morning, she heard how her grandmother and grandfather opened the door to come in, and all the bowls of white rice, the rice had turned tar black. And so, like, for now, she was apparently safe, and so they sent her off with her parents to live in the United States. Well, the whole thing, before she heard the voice of her grandfather, and when she saw the hat, there was this like sound of heartbeats, thump, 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 like drums that you could hear constantly. And
Well,
so
I'm not sleeping tonight.
sometime later, like years later, she called because her grandfather passed away. She called back in Japan to ask her grandmother how she was doing, and she wanted to come to visit the whatchamacallit, to visit for the funeral, but her grandmother would not do it because told her not to do it because if she came back, this thing would likely kill her. And right when she said goodbye to her grandmother and supposedly the line closed, as the woman listened into her phone, she could once again hear that drumming thump, thump, thump. And yeah, that's the only video I watched from that channel because I was not able to sleep very well that evening.
What a creepy story. That's a really creepy story.
I mean, it's Japan. Speaking of Japan, I remembered what I was thinking about. The Ring! Haha!
Oh, that one, yes.
Yeah, it's been parodied and comicized so much by now that I don't think it's actually that scary, but the concept of itself is still awful in its own.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't the best way to avoid that thing just be, stay away from the TV on that particular day that the thing, comes out?
I think it's not limited to the TV, is it?
I mean, that's the thing. When it first has been manifested, and you see the thing, you will not be safe from it. It will be Slender Man appear.
Oh, in order to handle, I'm gonna take a book out of a scary movie, and whenever, even if it's in front of the TV, have a sledgehammer or a chainsaw ready. Just as she's stepping out of that thing, just smash her head or cut her up.
Listen, that's the thing, Chris. Would you like her to have the ability to grab that hammer, wrestle it from you, and now she has a sledgehammer?
But to think about it, it is a little girl, so how powerful can she probably be? I mean,
That's
it is a
it.
ghost.
Supernatural entities does not necessarily share the what's it called? The strength of their chosen form, after all.
True.
Plus
True.
8 feet
Yeah,
tall.
and also that she's also, I think, isn't she like in the story originally like the ghost of a dead child? So if she's technically dead already, how are you gonna kill her?
You know who to call.
Mm-hmm.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
You gotta go to World of Monsters, and we gotta start that series where we talk about different ways to kill particular monsters. That's still a series that's pending.
We need to have an episode on that.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think
For a second, that would be a good topic.
Yeah,
Maybe
we've had
some
people...
guys' creations now are like real life.
Yep.
Parallels to this stuff because we've been doing this for over an hour now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
Guys, before we go too far off the topic, one time I was recording a video for Orphan. I just finished recording and I was about to start cutting the videos, like the audio up and stuff. And as I was, and as I was doing it, suddenly there's static kind of. It was like electric fencing kind of heartbeat kind of sound. It just suddenly appeared and it just wouldn't go away. To the point where I actually got so afraid because it shouldn't be there. There's nothing that can make that noise. And every time when I like stop editing and walk away for a little bit, it would be back. I'm gone. And as soon as I start editing again, I'm back. I just told Offer, okay, no, taking a break.
That's right, guys. So here's the secret, or here's the behind-the-scenes info of why Dog Donzo stopped making videos on yokai and such, because a lot of people wanted that to continue, but he had some experiences and he wanted to stop doing it.
Why don't you just meme the demons at least?
Can you repeat that?
Don't meme it.
Would you guys like to know how I handle when I delve into a particularly scary topic and I imagine something is out to get me, how I handle that?
Go on, Chris. I feel like this should be our coping episode too. After that story, I could use a coping episode and a hot glass of chocolate.
Amen to that, but no one else is awake. I'm alone.
So basically, because it's all subconscious, in the imagination. So I imagine that my imagination is telling me this thing is after me. So I imagine myself a predator, a protozoologist, and a rat ogre bodyguards. So like I snuggle up in my bed, I bury my face in the pillow. That thing is watching over me. Suddenly, breathing behind her, she turns around. Those three things, and they just maul her to death whilst I sleep calmly.
Nom nom nom. That's actually a good idea. The difference is I beat them up as a Necron. So
the strange thing. The strange thing here at my house is that, well, not even my house, my entire neighborhood. There's just weird stuff. Like we're across from a field, and one time when we were coming home, there was just this goat out of nowhere. We did have no idea where it was, where it came from. It was just there. And another case, my family members and I have experienced when we're alone, open and get touched just randomly. Like I would be sleeping and then suddenly something would touch my arm, and when I look, nothing's there. The weird stuff.
By the way, guys,
interesting stories.
What Chris?
Sorry, though, we are getting off topic, and we have been at this for over an hour. I'm kind of hoping we can get to the nature, the real world examples and our own creations pretty soon, because
we're going there.
I'm not going to be here much longer.
Exactly, we're going there. I just want to say that what Chris said for his coping mechanism, it's a pretty a good example because it scientifically works too. He was basically talking of a meditation, and Chris imagining some kind of creature. I mean, I've done that for fun. I'm my age now, and I still imagine stuff. I don't do it maybe to cope. I do it as a more entertainment kind of thing. But imagine like creatures or like gargoyles or some kind of your favorite monster kind of watching your house. Whether you want to believe in the deeper side of it, it doesn't matter, because even on the psychological level, that's already helping you. So that's, better advice than maybe some people may think out there. Go ahead, and we'll jump into the next section here.
Yeah, I just want to mention this final creature that I remembered when I was a while back. So this about the rules, I mentioned this in the shape-shifting. Actually, no, I don't think I did so. Basically, the deer women from Navajo mythos that are essentially half deer, half woman. And the thing is, they are a way to make men be faithful, because the mythos is one of them will transform into a human and will seduce a man, take him into the woods, and whilst they're having... Yes? What? What'd you say, OCD? OCD, I can't hear you for some reason.
I guess continue.
And whilst the man is essentially enjoying himself, a herd of them come in, and that's where they transform into their true form, like the half deer, half woman, and they trample him to death with their hooves. However, there is a rule. If you manage to see the deer woman's antlers or tails or her hooves in the middle, before, the final moment happens, you can get away. That's your one getaway card. Find out that she is actually a furry, not a person.
Wow, Chris! I know that you can say that, but wow.
Furries are gonna be you're gonna get death threats from the furries now, Chris.
No, he's a furry too. Don't worry. They're going to have their own little personal wars and all that. That's very normal for another culture by now.
I was joking, of course.
Death by furries, that's a new one.
I mean, that sounds pretty much what happened to me in my social life. Never mind, that's a story for another time, a different kind of monster.
Okay, guys, let's jump into creations in real life. And before we do that, there's another thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to. Another shout out here. Right here, I got this. Let me take a look at the stream here, make sure it shows up on camera. This is another channel out there. I've mentioned him a few times, particularly when I do any kind of artwork on the channel, and that's Jeff Lafferty. He's a cool artist out there, and he just got his comic book funded. he does a cool comic book, the kind of comics you would see in the Heavy Metal magazine, if you know what that is, with like actual painted art and stuff like that. So he just released this comic. It was on Indiegogo, I believe. So shout out to him. You can go check out his channel. Go ahead and do hashtag Monstercast to link over there for the as monster rights. But yeah, just wanted to shout him out because I got this little postcard thing that he released, just letting you know that the comic's on the way. So I should be getting that eventually sometime. I'll probably show it off on the live stream a little bit. So shout out to Jeff Lafferty. And
Nice.
continuing, by the way, Super OCD has a channel. Yeah, she mentioned it before. She's got some drawings on there of monsters, actually, from a friend, it seems, and she put it on there. So, shout out
Is your
to
channel the same name, OCD?
She's struggling. She's struggling with a demon with rules. It says that if she speaks, she will not be allowed back. She's afraid to say anything. I don't know what's up. Hope she hears us. She'll probably link it later. Or
I hit
maybe...
my phone when a bit funny.
Oh,
What's that?
right. Back.
Return.
So, okay, guys. So to kind of get into the creation and the concluding portion of this Monstercast, we're in 1 hour and 10 minutes, so we should finish up in about 20 minutes. I just want to say that for the creation, well, let's go with real life things first, because that's harder, and it only relates to possibly cryptids, because animals, well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there any animal out there that you can see follows a particular rule? There's animals
I
that
mean,
have
if you throw
hunting.
bread to duck, the duck will quack.
Yeah, there's
Also,
more like
ants, you know,
instinctual.
Ants have what is the closest thing to like they have a sort of government structure, and because they in our way, because they have like a queen ant, like only the queen ant produces, and then you have like, you know, chimps have a sort of, you know, social structure, and like wolves, they all like follow like a pecking order, like the dogs, like if like the wolf, the alpha wolf always eats first, and then they go down the line.
You're right.
Sandy makes
yeah.
a very good point.
What is it?
Right, hierarchy structures like that with alpha and such. Yeah, there's certain rule processes that occur there. Good.
Arthur, Danny makes a very good point on the type.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how true that is.
It's actually true. I did research on that a while ago. I just completely forgot about it.
What are you talking about?
That dogs only...
they face the direction of like the they're in the alignment of the magnetic field.
Right.
So
I'm not sure that
face
always
north and
occurs, but yeah, something to look
I'm
into.
now really confused, but I'm never going to unsee the fact when I'm going to walk my dog now. Thank
But-
you. Thank
Well-
you for enriching my life in such a way.
See, next time you do take it for a walk, pay
It's good
attention and let us
knowledge.
know So update us next time, okay? On how it's pooping.
Alright, I'll inform you about my dog's habits
Good.
and relations to the magnetic
Particularly
field.
dogs' pooping habits. Pooping habits. Hashtag
Just
pooping
make sure you
habits.
got a compass, else it won't make much sense.
So,
Let's not even bring this up.
I
in
think
the,
we're going to find out that my
Monstercast.
dog is retarded.
nice.
Is
That's
your
retarded.
dog a pug?
No, it's one of those things that are white and furry and triggering allergies.
So, what I like...
I mean, I don't think we should talk more about furries today, thanks to
No,
you,
no.
Chris.
Dande did... I want to mention something that Dande did mention, and that's Earth's magnetic field. That and ley lines and not ley lines, but electromagnetic signals that go out all over the world have confused many animals. It's a subtle thing that's really manipulating and changing our world that humans aren't widely aware of, and that's electromagnetic signals. And some creatures, such as birds and insects, follow these as direction. We have screwed them up with our technology. So it's not necessarily a rule, but it's a kind of guiding factor in nature.
I don't know that.
So, okay. Anything else for animals?
Not the migrating that way, screwing them, basically.
I mean, what is the thing? I swear there was something. But most of that is due to training and or interaction with humans.
Yeah.
Because there's some creatures that will develop certain habits out of adjusting to the environment. And secondly,
animals can...
or performing some kind of act.
Animals...
Due to them learning something. Usually more intelligent creatures.
Animals
but those are not rules. Those are actually exceptions to...
Right. Animals as humans can... form certain behavior habits. Sorry, I'll just finish this quick. Animals, like he's saying, animals as humans can form certain habits that do have a certain structural rule to them. Like even the dog always going to a certain area in the garden to use as the bathroom, right? That's a certain rule, a habit that it has formed within itself. So certain creatures, once they develop that, the ones that have a developed part of that brain can actually form habits like that. So it's not for the whole species, it's just that individual.
Involving a restroom, where if I go to a restroom at a store, I have to buy something at the store, otherwise I feel bad for using their restroom. So if I go to a store, like a grocery store, and I use the restroom, I'll buy like a candy bar or something.
Right.
Well, that sounds
you're
like
a good
nice
guy
rule.
then. I would say you wouldn't have to worry about that in the grocery store, but like a 7-Eleven or little convenience store, that's a good thing to do.
Two things in real life that I am aware of in terms of, first off, the obvious rule that cats always land on their feet. That's a rule.
Yeah, that's more.
Somewhat.
Tape a slice of bread with butter on top onto a cat's back, drop it, and you have a generator of infinite energy. But the second thing is I wanted to reference to an experiment that was done regarding what if society reaches a post-scarcity state where we are no longer interested in surviving and whatnot. Where essentially they made a labyrinth where they pulled a lot of mice, and they also left a very huge stockpile of food. So the mice didn't have any needs or wants really. They were safe from predators. They had plentiful food and water, and you can see that their behavior changed drastically. How they became a lot more in terms of human society to act. You had those who they didn't have the need to constantly procreate or watch out to survive. So eventually they split into the essentially caste systems, where you had they were, as they called, the perfect ones, where they would do nothing but groom themselves, and they weren't interested in partners. They just groomed themselves, made sure they looked as best as possible, essentially, because they didn't have any other care in the world. And I think that it's I think you can call this a rule of life. Once the necessity for survival is removed from the equation, life takes on this specific type of structure.
Right. That's an awesome...
I think Ultron in Avengers, Age of Ultron, actually put this very fine. When life settles down, God throws a rock.
That's an awesome experiment share that you did there.
Good saying, it's definitely accurate.
Chris.
Lads, sorry, I have to go quickly. If you guys have to end this stuff, go ahead. I'm just gonna mute myself. Maybe be back soon. I don't know. Sorry.
Okay, we'll be done.
Have a good time.
Shortly here. Thanks for joining us, Dogdanzo. So thanks for sharing that, Chris. I like to hear case studies like that with animals and such. It is interesting how it becomes relating that to humans. Because right when you were talking about that, I was just thinking Hollywood and and the silly things people get into when they don't have serious matters to worry about, such as over plastic surgerying themselves. That's not a word, surgerying, but it is now. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So today we have learned that Dog Donzo has a rule of pancakes. Don't offer him pancakes when he comes to your door. Or do. I don't remember how it works. Maybe just throw him at him. Who else? Another person here. Chris had a rule. No, Gargamel has a rule that he cannot use the bathroom unless he buys something at a convenience store. So if you don't want him in your store, don't put a bathroom in there.
It's if I use a bathroom at the store, I have to buy something at that store.
Right. I mixed that up. Okay, so for our own creations, what I would like to say is...
Sorry, I just got that.
For our own creations...
I cannot be in a conversation without talking about Necrons. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm quickly going away from that topic right now, so we can actually finish this in less than an hour. We are actually in an hour and 20 minutes, so let's hurry up here. I just want to say that as far as creations, I didn't come up with anything that I've created as far as artwork. Maybe I have somewhere, but it just doesn't come to mind. What I want to say is that I like this concept of monsters of rules. That's why we agreed upon this topic. What I would like to see more of is more movies pertaining such monster. We have a lack of good writing in movies nowadays, and there's so many cool concepts out there. Why not use more horror, create more horror movies or fantasy movies where there's such a creature, such a beastie, and it doesn't have to be from legend like Rumpelstiltskin. Let's create our new ones, and let's not even just have one. Let's make a movie where there's one demon or whatever, monster, that makes a deal with this guy. If he breaks it, he's going to lose everything, right? So this guy's working on having the good life, an honest life, but there's another monster on the other side, another kind of character that twists it into another direction. So now he has to balance out both of them, because we can all say, hey, I can easily not take a shower for a year for $1 million, right? But now there's another entity here, and he's making another kind of deal with you that makes it harder for you to fulfill the other ones. I think that would make for a more interesting movie, a lot of interesting moments and such, and even for video games. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that basically sounds interesting.
That would be cool.
Yeah, having more than one monster, though, can make things a bit complicated.
Right,
Because
which
you
makes
then
for
have to,
interesting writing.
write in the other monsters and their motivations and why they do the things that they do, like it is with human characters.
For sure.
As well.
Yeah, that's why. It would make for a more interesting movie, not just another silly horror movie. We need good writing.
In terms of personal creation, Zeke can attest to this. In a script for something I'm writing, I have this character who is basically God, but a more cynical and prickish version of him. Where essentially,
if God was a teenager.
Okay, not a teenager, just an awful, cynical person.
Continue, Chris.
He has what he calls the rules of the universe, aka things he made up. And so far, the most concrete one I've come up with is, whatever you do to me, I will do to you 1,000-fold. Actually, whatever negative thing you do to me, I will do to you 1,000-fold. Because he doesn't like people messing with him, essentially.
Okay, so again, I like that because it's putting into form basically what a curse is. And in the rules of magic, as we kind of mentioned before, is once you create a spell or a curse, it will return to you threefold because it's going through 3 different realms. So in a sense, putting that rule into a form of a monster, we've created what you just mentioned, and I like that. That's a cool concept for a game boss. You got to figure out how to kill it, because everything you're doing to it's just hurting you more. What else? Anybody else got anything?
But I forgot. I had something in mind, but I popped out. Someone say something. Give me a moment to try to remember it.
Okay.
I have something in mind, but the problem is that it's something that I would have said for last week's Monstercast, a character I came up with that for a monster that uses accessories, but it's not really appropriate for this one. I thought of it, and I was hoping that maybe I could mention them in this week's, only because I couldn't be a part of last week's Monstercast. If that's okay with you guys.
Okay, so last week's Monstercast was about monsters that use particular tools or accessories.
Tools or advanced technology.
So go ahead,
Yeah.
Gargamel.
I had created a monster called well, actually, I wouldn't. She's not a monster. She's an alien. She's called I call her. Her name is Fig Thing. She's like basically an inventor, and she's like this carnivore creature that well, she doesn't eat people. She eats animals, and she's kind of aggressive, but she's like a genius, and she makes all these like tools that like allow her to do, things that you couldn't normally do.
Sweet.
And I was thinking of her because she's definitely an alien. She's not a monster in the sense that most people do. She's a monster in the sense that Arthur would define her. She's a creature I call a vesp, and she's on my Die of an Alien novel, which I never ever bothered to finish, but she's just a concept I came up with of a monster that uses like tools, because she like invents stuff, so she does kind of use tools in that regard.
Cool.
But does she follow particular rules? Well, she kind of does. She won't hurt people. She doesn't like to hurt people.
That's fine.
So she follows rules in that regard.
She creates her own stuff, though.
Cool. I couldn't remember what I was initially thinking of, but as last week I remember one case monster that I'm not sure if you guys mentioned already. The Weeping Angels from Doctor Who.
Oh, yes. Those get a mention a lot. I have to check those out. So.
Oh, God, the Weeping Angels.
So what about them? What pertains to this topic with them?
They have the rule that if you're looking at them, they turn to stone, essentially.
It's a defense mechanism, but if you turn to stone, but you cannot kill a stone.
That's cool. So it's almost like.
You can if you smash it.
What about if you had like a bazooka or a really powerful explosive, though? You could blow them up.
That's the thing.
Or just
sure, there's exceptions. But I really like that. That's the kind of Toy Story kind of defense system. Like the toys have to become immobilized when you look at them. But in this case, they attack you when you turn your back.
In the last Monstercast where I mentioned the Weeping Angels, grab a sledgehammer and knock their head off, someone in the comments actually who was more familiar with Doctor Who lore than me mentioned that the moment you turn around, whatever damage you've done to the statue is immediately healed and the creature is still fine.
Right. Yeah, that was in the YouTube comments, right?
Yeah, in the comments.
Yeah, that was my buddy Carl Tinker. Yeah, Callus. He's got a channel out there.
Shout
good
out
friend
to
of
you,
ours.
mate.
Yeah. He'd mentioned a lot of info about them. And they are such a cool concept. I've gotten a lot of requests about those angels. And I need to check that episode out and do some research, but that is an awesome concept where as soon as you turn your back, they can come and attack you, but when you look at them...
You need to watch the episode. You should find it somehow.
So, okay, well, one question. I don't want to delve into this too deep right now, but one question. With those angels, if you have a camera on them, does that work as looking at them?
Yes, the thing is that...
I wanted to say, it reminded me of
too becomes an angel, which is fucking terrifying.
Wait, so what's the answer?
The image of an angel becomes an angel.
So what's the answer?
They reproduce. So if you video record them, it would just cause the duplicate.
Why?
Wow, that is.
There are 3 episodes involving the angels, as far as I know. It's not just turning your back. The moment they move lightning fast, you are not supposed to blink. The moment you blink, you done.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
That really sounds like one of the SCP.
It's not completely bullshit.
Yeah, that's a little too overpowered.
First episode when they are referenced, it's called "Don't Blink," and it's in season 2. No, season 3. Season 3 of the modern Doctor Who. Don't Blink.
That sounds a little too overpowered. Because Wishmaster is a little overpowered, but this is beyond.
Want to hear about something funny? They were defeated by what's it called? By them ending up in a position where they were forced to look at one another.
Right. Okay, so to clarify, I need to know this now. It's very important in my life. If you put a camera on them, they will not die. They will not stop, but rather duplicate. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
More
thank
so,
you.
yeah.
I hope Carl
They,
listens to this episode.
normally, you have to be actually looking at them in order for him to turn someone. In the second episode where they were featured, not the second one, but the second section where they were featured,
Mhm.
it was very dumb. I think because you had spoilers, you had a character who
Mhm.
was blindfolded, yet she, quote unquote, walked as if she could see, and that supposedly turned them to stone.
I mean, they can
temporarily.
activate it on their own, apparently.
Okay. Well, good mentioning there, Chris. I'm not sure if these guys would totally apply to this, having rules, because again, it seems like it's a part of who they are, just like werewolves and the full moon kind of thing. And it's not by choice, right? It's not like a code they follow. But definitely worth a mention, and I love hearing about these guys. Except for that they attack you within a blink of an eye. That's a little bit exaggerated power right there. They would take over the world.
They want to make them scary. You can make your monsters like if they're like a villain, you can make them overpowered in order to make that's just more challenging for your hero to defeat them.
Mentioning monsters that constantly go at you. Oh, I remember the thing I want to mention, as this is a concept that I saw a while ago. So, would you press the button? Do you you get basically infinite money. However, somewhere in the world, a magical, indestructible snail appears, and it is constantly homing in to come towards you.
Mhm.
And the moment it touches you, you die. Do you push the button?
I mean, if you have an infinite amount of money, you'll have
It's
to
a
find.
completely normal snail. It's just indestructible.
Wait, so it destroys you in a realistic snail kind of way, so it would kind of feed on you forever, or it has some kind of power?
No. The snail itself is essentially looks just like a normal snail. Moves at the speed of a normal snail. You just cannot destroy it, and the moment it touches you, you die.
Oh, I see. And
Well,
what do you
I
get?
would say I would not push the button.
And you get a bunch of
What
money?
is the point of having all the money in the world if you cannot touch a snail? I mean, I don't want to touch a snail by any means of the imagination.
Is the snail's
I just find it
presence
to
a
be
mystery?
ridiculously-
Yeah, I also wouldn't want to have to be looking out over my shoulder constantly every single day for the
Stare a
rest of
snail.
my life. I'm gonna die someday, but I'd rather not have to worry about just the possibility that if I ever go outside, this snail is gonna kill me.
I mean, that would depend on how much of an economical crisis I'm in.
So, but Chris,
I mean, if I suddenly am...
this snail is can it be found? Can you find its presence, or it has to remain a mystery to you?
No, you have no idea which snail it is. You just know that there is such a snail out there. It
Mhm.
looks like a completely normal snail. It moves as a normal snail. It can't jump, so it can't jump scare, kill yourself. Just a completely normal looking snail that you cannot kill, that
Okay.
constantly knows where you are and constantly moves towards
Okay.
you.
Did you make this up, or is this from somewhere?
I saw this on the interwebs.
Cool. I like this. I would say I would go for it. From what I hear right now, it makes life a little bit more interesting. If you've got all the money, you can always put out a research team. You can put out sensors all about yourself. You can keep moving country to country. You can make life interesting. You have the money to do it. You can keep moving. Nothing wrong with that, even when you're retired. Well, you're already retired, so I take that risk. It would make life kind of fun.
Make yourself an Iron Man suit.
Maybe it'd be
Well, it's
scary though.
it's
And also,
unstoppable,
you'd have to
so
take
I'll
that
accept
Iron Man
that.
suit at some time
Or a
off.
Oogie Boogie suit.
I mean, you have to constantly run away from it your whole life, but I mean, it's a snail, so it's not like you have to look over your shoulder, as Gargamel was saying, because
You don't have to destroy it. You have to immobilize it.
Well,
salt.
but let's say you can't. That's fine too, because it's so slow. Once you find out or you notice there's a snail in this house or in this garden, you know, go to another city. Next year, go to another country. But again, you don't know which one. So
Antarctica. If there's a snail there, you would know.
I love this topic, and I love
You would
how
know
people
what-
just talk
That is,
about.
what they said, because
a
in
snail
the post
killing.
I saw this on, people actually made calculations on how much time it would take a snail to move a certain distance.
Right.
So if you could figure out where it is and just move to the other side of the world, like it's gonna take that thing. You probably die before it reaches you.
This
I mean,
would
what
make.
if it's intelligent? What if it's intelligent and knows how to take transportation?
Mm,
That's not in the description. Like it's just
right.
a
It just keeps
normal
moving
snail
at its pace.
that
And
just
can the
knows where
snail
you are
swim?
and goes towards you.
It can go through water. It's
Can it swim?
indestructible. So it can go through water. It's just going to go at its own pace.
Oh,
So
don't worry, a shark's gonna eat it then.
I gotta say, this
It's
one, I love this
indestructible.
concept, Chris. I'd love to
They
see
can't
this.
die, so it's gonna. Since the sharks eat it, it's gonna still, come out the other end completely intact.
I can
Yeah.
imagine this being an Aku level of remember Aku from Samurai Jack,
Doomsday
that only
snail.
the sword of purity and all that
That's what I'm thinking.
can and goodness in the world
Ah,
can
yes,
actually
the
kill him.
demon.
The shapeshifter.
I would love
Oh God.
to see this concept in a high-budget movie. Not like Creative Equinox mentioned in the comments, because he said Doomsday Snail. That just sounds like a low-budget, silly horror, which it would be fun to watch. But I would
Yeah.
love
I mean,
to
what
see
about
this concept
awfully slow killer. Do
in
any
like
of you
a-
guys know that little fan
just a
base?
multi-million dollar budget film done in Hollywood or Georgia, whatever, created with all this money,
what you
top
would say is-
actors, and they're just living out their lives, their drama, but there's this snail. It would be pretty fun to watch.
I mean, it sounds like one of those movies that is just going to be this little flick of things that is just going to be
Alright,
absolutely
gentlemen,
amazing.
Super OCD would like to say something, please.
Oh God.
You wanted to say something?
She is. It's in her mind. Well, I'm giving this moment for a Super OCD also to chime in. I was planning to do that at the end of the episode too, in case we've been over talking her. She's speechless.
Another thing that Super OCD did say a while back when guys were still talking about the angels was an SCP is sort of the same as those angels. It can't move as long as someone is looking at it. But as soon as you blink, it will charge at you at the maximum speed and it'll
And
snap
try
your
to
neck.
break your neck.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Now that's a good. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I don't know when or where I heard about it first, but I remember that.
I like these concepts, and I want to talk more about this kind of concepting of maybe not rules, but this behavior that depends on a specific factors. I really like this topic. There's a lot more things, such as even zombies that walk during the day but at night run. I like that concept too. So there's a lot of stuff we can cover. I think we can do a topic sometime in the future. I forgot to think of the
Make a
next
note.
topic halfway through our chat, so we need to think of the next topic here quick too. And
We
Should we
still
just
had
take-
3 left, didn't we? From the
I
last
feel
one?
like Movie Monsters is long overdue.
I'd love to do movie monsters as well.
okay,
Yeah.
let's make
And after that,
the
Nicola V, if not
movie
Oh yeah,
monsters.
and if we ever get near to
Nephilim.
to Valentine's Day, we need to have monster girls, okay?
Oh, and okay, let me mention some closing things here, guys. First of all, Dande had a cool idea there. He was saying that sounds like a movie that World of Monsters could do. And sure, it's low budget enough, and we can get a snail. So if we get enough writers and cameras, that would be a awesome project. I think people would love it on the
I
internet.
am up for that.
Awesome. You guys would be
Chris,
the
would you
first
like
to
to
know.
play the
Directed
leading
by
role
World
of
of
the-
Monsters.
We should have this being a comedy. Imagine
Now-
this being a comedy and having this guy with a snail costume just walking across.
Imagine
For-
the slasher music with a snail slowly walking
No, not the slasher one.
The spoon?
Jaws,
No.
but with snails.
Creative
Yes, this is
Equinox,
very
I
funny.
don't.
Have the fat man run from a snail. Adorable.
We could have so many cool moments in there.
Gordon again.
All right,
Can
do
you
some
look
cool.
terrified?
We would have to do some cool practical effects on how it destroys a human once it touches it. So, okay, for our next topic, we're going to do movie monsters, but to make it more triangulated down or zoomed in, we're not going to do just any movie monsters because there's a ton, right? So try to pick out movie monsters that you think nobody has ever heard of, okay? There's a ton of them out there. Try to do the less known movie monsters. And I'm trying to Google what Creative Equinox is talking about here. The spoon. I hope it doesn't open something.
Okay,
The
I can
spoon
do that. I
killer.
think I know of at least a few of them.
Oh, I know
I
the
mean,
spoon killer.
I
That's a
already
good
know.
idea.
Already know what I'm going to bring up for that one.
Okay. So
we
gonna
I'm gonna
have-
have to do a little bit more research.
save it up. Chris, what do you
so
want
it's
to say?
gonna be obscure movie monsters.
Yep. Correct. And I need to remember to use that word. It's better than rare or unknown. Super OCD, you have another moment of silence. You can speak up. Oh, did I mute her?
OCD.
Oh, crap. She was muted. Oh, crap. That was my fault. I muted her. I mute her sometimes when
dang
she's
it.
shuffling. Okay, another moment of silence for Super OCD. Anything to say? Anything at all? A snort? A giggle? A fart?
less.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. Okay, nothing. Alrighty. That was our
Is
moment.
she talking and I'm not listening and I can't hear her?
That was
Or
our
are you
moment
not
of
talking
super
and everybody's
OCD.
just waiting?
Super OCD has a particular rule that she follows as being a monster herself. And that rule is that when people speak, she will say something quick. And when there's silence, she will stay silent. See what I mean? And a moment of silence for Super OCD.
Yes, I
Cool, we got something.
think
Might be time to put down Minecraft.
Damn it, I can't understand. She's giving us some answers. She's telling us where the treasure is, and I can't understand her.
I have nothing to say. I'm just laughing.
All right, that was our moment of Super OCD. This is a new thing we have on every
A moment
Monstercast
of
now.
super OCD. That sounds so perfectionistic.
Yeah, that's our new addition to every Monstercast. Alrighty.
Yeah, you're right. I'm
Okay, I'll accept it. So that's our next
Okay.
topic. Obscure
Yay.
movie
with it.
monsters. I just spit on my mic. Okay, and I think she's saying yay, which I accept. So two more things, guys. Before we close off, we are closing down now, right? You guys accept it?
All right.
We're 10 minutes over. Well, not
Sure.
over.
I
We don't
accept
have
it,
any rule
basically.
here. We always end
So
about
try to think of
an hour,
monsters
40
that,
minutes.
You know, for movies that most people have not heard of.
Right.
Is that the rule for the next one? Movies about monsters that most people do not know of or have forgotten of? Is that
Well,
it?
particularly...
Obscure movie monsters.
Right. Particularly the
mean,
monsters, not the movies. The monsters of movies that just obscure movie monsters. I told you guys that I wouldn't put this on YouTube anymore. I didn't tell anybody else that. I made that comment. I made that pinned post on Discord. I didn't do it quite on YouTube yet in the community because I'm so mixed up on that decision.
Well, you did actually mention that on the last
In the Monstercast,
on
right.
the last one of these, and
Yep.
it upset a lot of people. I really do want these on YouTube. I'm kind of glad because I don't really have access to Twitch
Right.
anywhere
Same.
except on my computer.
So...
I cannot, for example, view a Twitch video on the TV in my room or the TV in my living room.
Sure. So I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that. This one will probably end up on YouTube. I can tell you guys that. I just have to figure out exactly how I want to
Right.
manage And a lot of people did say they prefer it, but a lot was just a lot in that comment section, which was maybe top 10 people out of 60,000. And if you look at how many views these videos get, it's about 400 views compared to, thousands that we should be getting, right? So I always have to look at that because audience retention, which
It might
means
not be worth it.
how long people watch your videos, also helps how your channel grows and such. So I always have to take that into account, making the channel happy, making the people happy, and then keeping myself happy. That's the whole balance here. So I'll still look into that. But being that this is Monstertober, I think the next few Monstercasts we're going to stream right into YouTube. We're not going to stream them on Twitch, so we're going to have a nice line of comments constantly, I believe, because, we get a lot more views there. What do you guys think of that? Are you okay with that?
That sounds like
Sounds
a good
fine.
idea.
Cool, no
As
pressure.
As long as you can guide me, I have never done that.
Alrighty. I'll try to, because us being distracted here is enough. So I'll try to make sure you don't, that you do read the comments, but don't, mess up too much, or it's going to last for 5 hours, right? Because we'll be getting a lot of...
I mean, if we allow
input, so.
people to donate to us to get to the point or mention a movie, we should be fine.
Hey, shout out to Z for that. Yeah, if there's donations, I don't hide anything behind money walls here, but if we're at that point, cool.
There's a system where you can just pay to get a message pinned in the chat.
Absolutely.
Super chats is what it's called.
Yep, super
Yeah.
chats. So eventually, if it does get busy enough, we'll just go off of those, and otherwise we'll be the Monsterite elites here until... And remember, anybody out there can join Discord for now. We're not, overpopulated. We've got a good amount today. I think the most ever people chatting here, and see, it's not that bad. So people are welcome.
We've been at this for almost 2 hours.
Yep. If we get too many
5
people
more
here in
minutes
the...
and it's 2 hours.
This is the longest Monstercast you've ever had. You want to go for the next 5 minutes, see if we can do the full 2 hours?
No,
I
it's
think
been...
the second one we did, the demons one, was a longer.
Yeah.
2.5 hours then. But
This one's hour and 45 minutes right now. That's where we're at. So it's pretty normal compared to our other ones. So everybody out there that's listening, that's watching, if you ever want to join these, you're still welcome. Until we get to the point where people are just keep voice chatting and we can't understand, then we'll start to pick particular people every week. We'll worry about that later. But right now, anybody can join in voice chat, text chat, and I want to mention the hashtag for those people listening to the end, and I'm going to shut down after that. But before we do that, a moment of silence for Super OCD. Anything to say? Sweet. Awesome. And that was the moment with Super OCD. Thank you guys for joining. If you could watch this or listen to this all the way through, I want you to put in the comments section on YouTube or anywhere you heard this, write hashtag rules. One word. Hashtag rules with a Z. RULEZ. And we will know that you listened to this whole damn thing like a true Monsterite warrior. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you all. I had a lot of fun with this one. It was a good topic. Thanks for the suggestion, Creative Equinox. Anything you guys want to say in closing? Monster.
Thank you for having us.
Not that I can think of in particular.
All I wanted to say is those 3 images I posted, very, very scary news. I am afraid of where the world is going. Because I've seen the sacred texts, and that is troubling.
Nice ending, Chris. So if you guys want to see those images, you got to join our Discord right now, and you will see those images. Because I'll just show them briefly here. Thank you, Chris. All right, guys. That's it. Thank you for another awesome Saturday. Spending time with you. You make this all worth it. You make it fun. And
thank you, Arthur.
That's
Well,
all.
that's definitely a bird.
I'm gonna play a closing song here. I also have different songs for break time. I have a song for that. I have a song for contests.
Intros and outros.
Yeah, little things. So
We
I'm gonna do my.
We need a version of the touch to make sure that everyone has that Transformers and.
The touch. That sounds too naughty right now. So, I'm going to play my outro. Oh, I found it. Okay, I'm going to start my outro song. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day or night, wherever you are out there. And I'll get this on
Excellent.
YouTube
Good
by
evening.
tomorrow.
Have a good time.
Thanks to... Oh, and we got our monster art contest. It's in session right now. It's a female predator Venom celebrating 2018. So, get your submissions done out there. Thank you for... Damn it. Okay. Thank you for... What's his name? Shelves, for doing our latest video. That was by Shelves Hot Pencil. We got Dog Donzo here too, who is officially a summoner. If you look at his level, his role is summoner because he's been on our team making videos before. So if you guys ever wondered, how the hell do I become a summoner? That's how. I'm all done with words.
No, I'm not supposed to try to summon Cthulhu into a bedroom or something. Alright.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I love it.
Evil laugh.
Thank you, guys. Moment of silence for all of you. You can feel free to jibba jabba like a jabba walk.
Shout out for everybody that wants to see the Venom movie.
Heard bad things about it, but I'm gonna check it out today.
October special.
I'm going today.
I'm just looking forward to the October special for this.
Orktober, we got that too. We got them all covered. Spooktober, Orktober, Inktober. We do it all here.
October.
OCD-tober. Yeah, gonna go see Venom here in probably a couple hours.
You actually gonna see the movie?
Yeah. Hope it beats out the Predator.
It probably will.
I think Tom Hardy being in it...
Trailers alone.
I think, yeah, and Tom Hardy being in it alone, I think already beats it.
Alright, have a good night, gentlemen and ladies.
Take care.
Good evening. Have a good night.
Have a good time.
Even.